It is that time of the year when we can start planning and dreaming for our next growing season. But before we get to that stage, one of the things that Glenn and I like to do is to reflect on what happened this year in our homestead. We like to be able to think about the things that we did well this year, the things that worked that we want to continue to do in the next growing season, but also think about those things that didn't work well, that we might need to troubleshoot or not do anymore or change the way we've been doing things. So today I am excited because I get to walk you around my property and share with you some of those wins and fails from the 2024 growing season. One of our goals this year was to move our chicken coop that was in a different part of the garden here because we wanted to be able to expand their run. We just felt like the run that they had wasn't big enough for them, and that has been a huge win. The whole process took a lot of planning, a lot of time, and coordinating to be able to do that. But the chickens have loved this area and they have really thrived in this area. So that was a huge win for us. But we also experienced a huge loss. In May, one of our chickens was picked up by a hawk early in the morning, and we lost our chicken to that tragic incident. So that actually led us to have to think about what to do to protect our chickens a little bit better, because this run is actually not very secure since we have our entire property fenced in. But we decided to put some bird netting over their run just to protect our chickens, and this actually did the trick. It kept the hawks away, even though at first they were still trying to figure out a way how to get to our chickens. They didn't, and thankfully we didn't lose any more chickens, but just losing one from the 7 that we originally had was a very big loss for us. But we have great plans to expand our flock this coming season. I am standing back here in the back of the garden, and this is where we had our massive sunflowers all along this back wall of our property. And that was a huge win. That is something that at the beginning of the season I had envisioned. I wanted to have sunflowers all along this wall. And we did, and it was beautiful. They were massive. It was just a huge success. So we were very thankful about that, and we are thinking we might do something similar to that next year again. Yeah. Oh, you did it.
There we go.
You did it. I thought it would have to be a 2-person job. That looks beautiful. But that's a huge one.
Yeah, this is a big one. It's quite heavy too. All right, that's just one to show you the size of that one. Pretty
yeah,
good
that's a
size.
black one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful. Because we grew mammoth sunflowers, and some of them were like 14, 15 feet tall, they fell over, and some of them fell over onto our cattle panel trellis over here with the butternut squash, and that collapsed. And some of the sunflower stalks were just falling on top of each other. So we might need to think about what we can do this next season to give them some support so that we don't have that issue again. Another big win for us this year has been growing berries. And this is something we've never done before. So this was a complete experiment for us, and we are so glad that we did. Over here we grew raspberries, and obviously they are looking dead right now, but these 2 beds gave us raspberries over here and blackberries on this bed behind me. And it was such a fun thing to see my sons coming out here, picking the berries and eating them. It was just a lot of fun. Because we just planted these in the spring, there was still some room in the beds, and so we wanted to make use of all the space. So we planted some carrots along the way over here, and we still have some carrots here. Even though we've had a lot of snow already, these carrots are still looking great. They are missing all their tops because we have bunnies all over the place that are just eating all these carrot tops and whatever they can. But I want to show you what some of these carrots are looking like. These are still looking really good. Look at these. I'm actually thinking that I need to harvest these today because even though we're having a really nice day today, we are going to get back down into the 20s and we're going to get lots of snow. So I have a whole row of carrots over here that I am going to be harvesting a little bit later because these carrots just need to come out of the ground. These carrots are impressive. Look at these. Some of them split, but that's not a problem at all. Wow, these are amazing. We have really enjoyed growing in these raised garden beds. Now is actually the time of the year where they're having a lot of sales for these types of garden beds. So if you are interested, I'm going to link them down below and you can check them out. Even though these berry beds have been a huge success for us this past year, over here with our blueberries, we've had some major fails. Unfortunately, these blueberries did not do well for us. We know that 5 of the 6 plants that we planted were alive and they did grow some. They just didn't grow the way we expected them to grow. It was quite pathetic, actually. And we had one plant that didn't even grow at all, and I think it was just completely dead, maybe from the moment we got it. So I am sad to say that these 2 blueberry beds have been a huge disappointment, and we really need to figure out how we are going to do things differently because we really want to grow blueberries. Right here, this is horrible because something is eating this. I don't know if we have a woodchuck in here again. I see these are some strawberry plants that are also, they've also been eaten over here. I don't think bunnies would be able to do this, but maybe they can. I'm not sure. Another big win this year for us has been this asparagus bed. This is one of our goals this year, to start growing asparagus, and we knew that we weren't going to be able to harvest any this year. And the hope is that in the spring, we are going to be able to harvest a few stalks. So we are very excited about that. Because the plants weren't as big this year, we were able to use the space in between the plants to grow some cherry tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of things in this bed over here. So this bed here was a big win. I can't believe it is the end of December and we still have lettuces that are doing great. And that has been a huge win that we've been able to still harvest in December. We have the carrots and we have these lettuces over here. I also have a lot of food that I was able to preserve this year, and I am so excited about that. That was one of my goals, that I wanted to be able to preserve more tomato sauce than I did last year. And this year I was able to preserve 10 quart-sized jars of tomato sauce that I have in the freezer. We have a lot of bags of kale that are in the freezer, basil, we dried some herbs and chamomile for tea. We still have a lot of garlic and butternut squash. So many things that we can still be eating during this time of the year. Another thing I wanted to do this year was grow food on a green stalk, and this has been a huge success. It was a little bit of a trial and error at the beginning. I tried using this for other things and they didn't do as well, but I did find out that growing strawberries on these is the best. So I absolutely love these. Right now my strawberries obviously are not looking very good, but we had a very successful year with these green stalks. I highly recommend these. I absolutely think this is a huge space saver, especially for those of us who are tight on space. Strawberries can really take over your yard, and we didn't want to do that. We can't afford to do that. We were able to grow some beautiful strawberries from this. This is something we will continue to do, and maybe even consider adding more green stalks in the future. So these green stalks have been a game changer for us. It has been a great addition to our homestead. If you are interested, I will leave a link in the description box for you. At the beginning of the season, one of our other goals was to expand our outdoor living area because we love hosting people here in our house and we love using the backyard for that as well. We have been able to add this area right here where we have our fire pit and we have been able to enjoy some wonderful evenings around the fire here with family and friends. So this was a huge win and we just are so excited when we can start using this again. Another one of our fails has been broccoli, and I am so sad to say that this is the second year in a row that I have failed growing broccoli. I really want to do a better job with that next year because broccoli is something that we eat a lot of in our family. So that is going to be another crop that will be a priority for us to grow next year. Another win this year was that we were able to extend our in-ground beds over here. That was huge for us in preparation for next year, but also we were able to utilize the space and grow some carrots and beets, zucchini, more green beans that we could plant later in the season. That was an extra little addition, and it really helped us to maximize the use of the space we have here in our backyard. So that was another win, but it wasn't easy to do this. And you can check out the video up there to see what we actually had to go through to be able to extend these garden beds. We definitely had a couple failures, and thankfully, the third time we were actually able to make it work. I'm standing over here in the area where we had our volunteer tomatoes, and that was another win, even though it's something that we didn't plan for, but we decided not to rip out the tomatoes that were growing here in an area that used to be where the chicken run was. And we just had a ton of different cherry tomato varieties that grew from this spot. And we decided to keep them, and it was unbelievable. We had so many tomatoes that grew here, pumpkins and different kind of squash, and we are so glad that we let our volunteer plants grow. I think the thing that surprised us the most was that we've heard over and over that you should let chicken manure decompose for at least a year. But this area was full of chicken poop, and it probably only had about 3 or 4 months to decompose before the plants started just growing on their own. So that really surprised me, and it was a really cool thing to learn from this patch right here. A final goal that I had at the beginning of the 2024 season was that I wanted to be able to grow more food than the previous season. In 2023, we grew almost 500 pounds here in our small backyard garden, and my goal was to grow 750 pounds of food in 2024. But somehow during the season, my numbers changed, and I kept saying in my videos that my goal is to grow 1,000 pounds of food. I'm not sure how that happened, but the question is, were we able to grow that amount of food? So I'm going to share with you all that we've been able to grow this year. If you've ever tried to keep track of everything you've grown, you probably understand that it's a lot harder than it seems. There are days that we forgot to record things. There are days that we ate the food and we didn't even weigh it, or there were so many times that the kids were outside here just eating tomatoes off the vine or berries and other things in the garden that didn't even make it to the house. But here are the totals for the food that we grew this past season. Ah, this one is beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Look at how thick this one is. So this one here is huge. We were finally able to harvest these.
All right, here we go.
The moment of truth. I see some
All
red.
right.
That's
Let's go.
exciting. Yay! That's our first watermelon, you guys. So that's huge for us. This was a huge win. It is so exciting, so fulfilling to know that we were able to hit our goal of 1,000 pounds of food in our very small lot. We live in a 1/4 acre lot and our garden is only part of our backyard. And it has been a lot of work this year, but it has been so good and so rewarding. And the fact that we were able to meet our goal just makes everything so worth it. It has been a really good season for us. It gives us so much hope for what can be done in such a small space as we continue to dream and grow our little homestead here in the suburbs. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to share with you what we are going to be doing in our 2025 season. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And in the meantime, you can watch this video right here to see what we've been up to in 2024. I'll see you next time.